So, so Tami, in your opinion, looking at the sort of churches that we grew up in and comparing them to, like, contrasting them to churches today,
Yeah.
um, when do you think, is there a period in time where you think things started to change in the focus of the church?
Well, I don't know whether there's actually a time that it started per se, but I know that we started to be exposed from most of these teachings after 94 going forward. Maybe it's because a lot of things were happening. Most people were starting to believe in themselves. The prosperity things started to kick in, saying, no, we can all do it. So I'm not sure whether they, they were not happening, but I know that now it has progressed. It is actually too much. It's just there for anyone to see. Anybody in the street can comment about that. It doesn't take a special person. Anybody would actually comment about it. I mean, we've seen people eating rats, drinking poison, eating grass, and you're not sure why. Where in the scripture does it say that? So where I have a dilemma is when I think about it. I'm thinking about the churches that don't do that. Churches that maybe if they are well. Maybe I'm not looking hard enough. Why are they coming up and condemning the whole thing and actually saying this should be the teachings? Because seemingly for me it looks like there's an understanding that you do your thing, we'll do our thing. We're not gonna bother each other. So I don't find much interference. I think even the government is trying because nobody's saying anything. The churches themselves are quieted. Everybody's doing their thing. So it worries me that those churches that know the truth and actually doing the right things, trying to teach people the teachings of Jesus, they're not coming up. They're not fighting against these type of churches that we are experiencing now. So I wonder why is that as well. So it makes me think that maybe they're all the same.
I think that would be, well, I suppose, involved in the church. Well, there are people that are defending and fighting, but I think maybe things could be amped up, to bring people to that level of understanding that this is not from God. But in your opinion, the whole thing that somebody will actually allow themselves to be sprayed with doom, do you think is it purely wanting to be healed or wanting to prosper, or is there an element of, does education, does background, does all that stuff?
I think I think there is something like that. I think background does take some form of play into it. If you think about it, certain people, because of their background, you cannot convince them of other. They'll question you. They'll question you why.
Yes.
So because of background, but there's more to that because also the mentalist. I mean, some people are good mentalists. They can control minds. And like a psychologist who will read your mind, they work on those bases. They look at people, what people want. Is this area people in a certain area? What do people want? Do they want prosperity? Is there employment here? So they'll come and preach to those. They'll play with what people's feeling. So it is difficult really to point at one thing, but I think it's just that people want something to hold on to more than anything. People are just desperate out there. They want to be healed, they want jobs, they want prosperity. So if you come and say, if you do A, B, and C, I will give you prosperity, they will do that. They will do that. So that is why I say there needs to be education. I don't know from where, I don't know whether from the side of the government or from the side of the churches. I would think from the churches because they know the truth. But I don't find them defending the truth and saying, oh, hold on, wait. You cannot have this, not in God's name. We'll defend God. I mean, have shows, come on TV, come on the news, come on everything and defend what you believe in. So it's quiet. So what are people supposed to believe? Because if maybe they convince an elderly lady that no, if you give us your whole pension, we will give you a certain prosperity, and then another church say, don't do that. Don't do that. That's not how it works. Then at least you'll think that this old lady will think about it before she does that. But who's defending her? Nobody's defending anyone. Everybody's doing their thing.
No, there is a truth in that. I think, as I said, things definitely can be amped up in certain regards. But it is tragic. It's exploitation. It's taking advantage of people's upbringing.
No, true.
It's making sure that you use their circumstances to get them to do what you want them to do. But and not in the defense of the church. There are people that are doing that. I think it's just making sure that then becomes a key focus of also what we do as a church.
Not true, because as you're saying it, I'm thinking also, if we are talking about it, then there should be where we say, well, now we're talking about solutions, but we can talk about it all day. We can talk to anyone, but we know between us that there's no solution. We cannot say this is what's going to happen or this what is a solution. So meaning that it's still going to happen tomorrow, another day, and all of that. So I don't know when it's going to stop or what's going to happen or what needs to happen. All I know that it's happening right in our nose, right in our faces, and it's pushing a lot of people away from churches, people who see that, I mean, including me. Look, I don't want to be a party to abuse of people or to be abused myself. I don't want to be a party to that. So I don't know when it's going to stop. I wish there could be a solution. I wish we can talk about the solution. I wish something can be done. But obviously, for now, talk is just talk. Yeah. I don't know how to put it.
Yeah, I think this is the exercise to then maybe try and hopefully through this journey that I'm on, to then say to people, at least think about what you believe. Sit down and think about it. But you are right. I am also challenged to say defending the faith, defending God's honor is also an important part of our Christianity, because that's how it was when we were growing up. It was quite clear what a Christian was and what a Christian was not.
Yeah, true.
People rather erred on the side of caution than now, where it's like, hey, let's not you right. I like what you said about it. Almost seems like there's an understanding, even though that's not the truth.
Yeah.
There are churches that are defending, there are people that are fighting. But almost like at times the quietness means almost like become, complicit to it, even though we are not. So you're right. I mean, that there is a bit of that. And I'm just thinking about how we grew up. People like Babum Dawu, he was on fire for God. You knew what was wrong and you knew what he didn't care. He just stood on that truth.
Yeah, true.
To a point where he was not a liked person, but he was like, this is what the word of God says and this is what it doesn't say. So
I would love you to take this challenge or take this journey and make it meaningful, in a sense that we need people that can help with this type of this new phenomenon of churches and all of it, and give an understanding to people like me that no, churches are not all like that. That is why, if I can make an example, during apartheid days, there were black churches and there were white churches, and a white person will sort of abuse a black person, do whatever horrible things that they can be, and the churches, the white church, were not challenging each other that no, if we believe in God, we shouldn't be doing this. Actually, they should have been the biggest comrade who were defending black people, but they were quiet. Years go by, we have independence, now we are here. Churches are actually sort of abusing people, making all sorts of things, making all sorts of promises The good churches are quiet. So that is why I'll say I'd love to put it to you as a challenge. I know you cannot find a solution by yourself, but to come up with ways or to meet with people who you know that they are doing tremendous work. They are believers. They do all the right things. To come up with a solution, to speak to people, to teach people what is it that they should expect from churches, or what is it that God expects them? What is it that Jesus wants them to do? Not what is it that the pastor wants them to do. Because it should be personal like that. We should have a way of going forward. We cannot go on like this, because I promise you, I prefer not to go to church. If I'm going to be abused, no. So I don't know how to balance it, but I would love to hear people like you condemning, coming up on TV, having a show, and talking to different Christianity. And maybe there could be a solution. Maybe some churches think they are doing the right thing, but there should be something should be done.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a part of this journey. And I like what you're saying, because even now I'm thinking about the sort of churches we had. They were family orientated, there was love, but there was none of this abuse. And you're right. In some accounts, we then focus on our lives and we almost forget that part of Christianity is being an advocate for truth, for justice, and for what's right, irrespective of how comfortable or how good your life is. So
yeah,
it's
true.
Definitely a challenge to me, and I'll take it to heart. I'm taking it to heart.
Okay. No. Yeah, I think we've said all that we can say. Hopefully, something will come out of it. Something will come out of the interview. And obviously, you're still going to talk to many people. You'll hear different views from mine, but I think mainly you'll hear views like mine. People are just tired. They need help. They need, someone to say, we seeing what you see. We want to be there for you.
And we stand against.
Yes, we stand against. Yes, condemn it.
Yeah.
Like abuse of women, condemn it. Condemn it. Churches are not coming to condemn other churches. I'm actually surprised this is going for this long, actually. I'm actually surprised.